meeting to order. We'll start with a roll call.
Present this evening, Monday, October 21st, 2024, are Mayor C. Holland Purdue III and Vice Mayor Billy W. Stockton. Council members A. Ralph Casey, David K. Clements, J. Tyler Lee, and Benjamin K. Mullins. Also participating this evening are staff members as noted.
We'll rise and do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Prior to approving the agenda, Mr. Councilman Newble cannot be present in person tonight. He is present on the phone right now, and based on council having adopted a plan and policy to allow him to participate by phone, we will be asking that while he's at home tonight, that he be allowed to participate. So I need a motion.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. So Mr. Newble will now be part of the meeting.
Correct.
Thank you. All right. Now, if everybody's got a copy of the agenda, be asking for an approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, you have the consent agenda in front of you. We'll entertain any motions there.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, we've got some special items this evening. The first one tonight is the accolades of Miss Hadley Scott. All right, so you guys may have seen the letter in the packet. This is Miss Hadley Scott. She is listed as one of Roanoke's 18 under 18. She has a lemonade stand in her neighborhood that she raises money for the Hope Fund. And you want to talk about it, or you want me to talk about it? Okay. Well, you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
So every year I have a lemonade stand at my house, and my first year I donated to a Hope Fund for children, and then it continues with what was it? There's a Roanoke NICU that I sent money to. Then I also sent money to a place where homeless people stay, and to donate other things to them.
It's wonderful. And so we did want to recognize her. It's a big accomplishment that she was in the Roanoke's magazine. And so you're going to have the stand up next year?
Yes.
Okay. Good. So we appreciate it. I'd like all of you to give you a round of applause. I guess we're going to stand here. They're going to take pictures now.
That's awesome.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Phyllis.
All right. Next, we have the Mark Moore, who's going to introduce the new grant coordinator, Mr. Blake Flincham.
Good evening, Council. Wanted to introduce to you tonight Mr. Blake Flincham. He is our new grant coordinator. He's been on staff for about 3 weeks now. He comes to us as a research assistant at Virginia Tech. And so I wanted to introduce him, have him stand up and say hello, and any comments he has.
Hey everybody, as you said, my name is Blake Flincham. I'm really excited to be here and happy to get started. My door's always open, or you can contact me with any thoughts or needs you guys have. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Welcome.
And just a side note, while Blake's sitting down, he's already helped get the first grant since he's been here. He worked with the fire department to get a grant to help them with some equipment. It's a an ongoing program with Harbor Freight that actually will give them some monthly money to pay for equipment that they need, or equipment and tools that they need.
Wonderful.
So,
Much needed.
already had
Thank
some
you.
success.
Yes, good deal.
All right, next we have the recognition of staff and volunteers from Community Development, Police, Fire, and Public Works for their work at Rocky Mount Fest. I think we all owe them a great deal of appreciation for that. Chief Young is here, of course, and all of staff. But I don't think this event could have happened without Daniel Bernard. And so, Daniel, we'll give you a special shout out tonight. Daniel worked really hard on that event, drew 18,000 people to the community, and we look forward to next year. Right. Yeah. All right. Next, we have the hearing of citizens. When you hear your name, if you'll come up to the podium, there's a light. There's 3 minutes. We'll start with Mr. Benny Holland.
Thank you very much. Moved back to Franklin County, grew up in Franklin County, moved back in 2011, so thankful to be here. The problem we're having in Franklin Heights right now is we got a dogs problem. We got some neighbors there, they've continuously brought different dogs and let them run wild. I live on the corner of Vantage and Hilltop. The neighbors will live on Meadowlark Lane. For example, on Vantage Road, we have 7-11 homes or senior citizens. The girl that lives beside of me has told me she's scared to death because the dog comes up to him and bark, and they even run through her breezeway. The girl across the road from me, I've had them over there, they run the cats around, run them under the dog, under the car. They've actually chased them into the culvert and towed after them. They've had it pinned under the boxwood. I've seen neighbors having to chase them with a stick. And, before these people have had chickens up there. I don't know what the rules in the county is for that. They haven't had that for a long time. They've had cows or possibly goats or sheep and cattle trailers sitting on the property. Yesterday they had 2 cattle trucks sitting on the property and then 1 flatbed like you'd haul hay with. And it's which that's fine if they get the cows and just leave them in the trailer and haul them off the next day, I had a little bit of smell yesterday where the trailers were empty. They just bring them in and leave them, which that's fine. I'm just letting you know they don't know what they might do next or have. The walkers, some of the walkers up there in the county, it's a real issue. So many people walk on Franklin Heights. It's Hilltop's a great place to walk. Or we have the school at the end where we got Christian Heritage. These kids, these dogs can go up there and they just bark at, and I've had to run them off. My wife is disabled. I basically take her dog out all the time, and they come up, and I have to run them off, come back, and come at me, like that. I'm afraid she'll fall if she takes him out. But that's basically the problem, I just think I think we really need a leash law or something that we can get rid of these dogs. Now, I will say that I know there've been some words exchanged, I believe, from what I understand with the people. I haven't talked to them, and the more aggressive dogs have been maintained for about the last 10 days. But this has been before they got different dogs and they come and they go. Now, I know the smaller dogs and all have been roaming around right much, and they look like they had a newer dog the other day. So I just want to put it on record, that the problems we're having, I think it's an issue that needs to be addressed. Thank you very much, and such a blessing to be back to Franklin County. I grew up in it. And thank you for the job that you've done. And several of you, my daddy knew, and he was so thankful for y'all's friendship. He really meant a lot to him. One of you actually, he really thought a lot of your daddy and his grandfather, So it really means a lot to come back to Franklin County. Just walking around and seeing the people, it's such a blessing. But let's keep this town like it is now, okay? And we got an issue we need to deal with, in my opinion. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Mr. Todd Overstreet.
A lot of handicap up in here that can't run fast.
So I'm piggybacking on Benny. Benny and I have talked. We're neighbors, and this is an additional neighbor that, as he said, lives on Meadowlark. They've got numerous animals. I know this past year, during the hot time, that one of the cattle trailers had, I'm pretty sure it was a goat, for at least 10 days, 2 weeks, in the hot cattle trailer. They don't take it out. They just don't take care of their animals. And, I'm a believer in an outside dog and that type of thing, but still, you got to take care of your animals. These dogs, they've got numerous. They've got a little wiener dog that my daughter is scared of, because the wiener dog will come up, and she's 7 years old, will come up and will growl and will bark, and, you know, then they've got a poodle that Benny was talking about we hadn't seen for a week or two. And it's got, and some other small dog, I don't know what it is, but as he said, you know, my wife teaches at Christian Heritage. She teaches at the church location, and you've got pre-K through third grade at that location, you know. And they go outside anytime it's nice weather, and those dogs run everywhere. We do have another neighbor that has a dog that is not on a leash. I'm not a big fan of leash laws, but something needs to be done about the wild dogs that basically, I mean, they're wild. I mean, the big dogs I've had to run off, and of course, as you can tell, I'm limited on my mobility, but I've had to run them off, and they growl at me, they show their teeth. The big poodle dog does. We've got a neighbor that's across the street from me. Any of y'all that know Jay and Lori Robertson, it's their oldest daughter. She was walking her dog the other day. The dogs ran through my yard and went after her, walking her poodle. You know, it's just, you know, we've got older people that are walking. You know, it's a great community. I'm not sure. I've been told that the individuals that have these dogs have a farm, but they're trying to make their farm part of the town stuff. And, you know, I don't know. It's just, you know, they got kids. The kids ride their four-wheelers and dirt bikes. They used to run them through my backyard. I mean, basically, we had trees cut out, so now we can see what they're doing. And it's just, you know, it needs to be dealt with. It needs to be talked to. But the animals are the issue right now. You know, I'm not worried about vehicles at this point. I mean, I don't want a trash dump. But the animals need to be, they need to be talked to about the animals, about taking care of the animals. You know, the dogs, they go everywhere. They eat my neighbor's dog's food and different things. I mean, it's just, it's craziness, you know. And, you know, I appreciate your time. I just, like I said, wanted to piggyback on what Benny was doing. We've talked about it a few times. And, you know, I wanted to be a part of this. This is my first time ever being in public stuff, so if I messed it up, I'm sorry. But I appreciate anything that may be able to be done. Like he said, we just wanted it on record. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Glenna Moore?
Good evening, Glenna Hawkins Moore. Mayor Perdue, Vice Mayor Stockton, Councilman Lee, Mullins, Clements, Casey, and Mr. Newbill. 160 years after the Civil War, Franklin County is finally learning about the United States colored troop soldiers born here. How and why was their story left out of history books? The answer is centered around a woman named Mildred Lewis Rutherford, a historian for the United Daughters of the Confederacy. Mildred Rutherford was guest speaker at a Confederate Veterans reunion in October of 1919. She spoke about the importance of having children taught the lost cause version of Southern history. It was the beginning of a book banning movement combined with Confederate statutes to ensure that the lost cause propaganda is so ingrained in the minds of Southern children that it will be passed on for many generations. A committee was established representing 3 Confederate organizations. In 1919, this committee published a pamphlet entitled "A Measuring Rod to Test History Books." It names 9 standards for which history books are accepted or banned. If the book says the slave owners were cruel and unjust, and if it says the South fought to keep slaves, reject the book. In 1957, Virginia commissioned a history book that Franklin County Junior High and High School used. It's one that is criticized today because it justified Virginia's system of slavery, but there was no mention of the 200,000 USCT soldiers. Last year, a Franklin County High School Virginia history teacher and I exchanged books temporarily. She was curious about what I was taught in 1965, and I was curious about what my granddaughters are taught in the 21st century. The teacher and her students were shocked at how slavery was glorified in my book. But I was glad to see that the United States Colored Troops is a topic covered in the newest textbook. The teacher is glad she can now teach about USCT soldiers and make it relevant to Franklin County. Council, knowing your names are attached to the preservation of Franklin County USCT soldiers' history, I'm personally asking you, as curators of their untold history, to offer the most public location within the town of Rocky Mount so we can do these men justice. Thank you. 337 petitioners request the 7-foot USCT monument to be installed at the farmers market area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore. We have some new business tonight. First, the Virginia Highway Safety Improvement Program Funds Resolution. Mr. Moore will present.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Staff is working with consultants provided by VDOT on some safety improvements in town. It's through the Virginia Highway Safety Improvement Program. The grant application requires a resolution of support by council. The improvements include pedestrian and the high visibility backplates at stoplights. So what you have in your packet is the resolution in support that will allow staff to submit the application.
Any questions for Mr. Moore on the resolution?
I'll make the motion to present it as presented.
Second.
To adopt it as,
Yes, sir.
all right, we've got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the adoption of the Virginia Highway Safety Improvement Program Funds Resolution? All right, hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the request for partial waiver for sidewalk requirement to Grassy Hill. Mr. Moore?
Yes, this is concerning the new hotel that'll be going in over off of Grassy Hill on North Main behind the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Town ordinance requires a sidewalk along any commercial property located within town limits. The developer, the Grassy Hill Hotel developers, requested a waiver of the required installation of curb and gutter and a 5-foot sidewalk for a 500-foot portion up Grassy Hill Road. As it mentions in the cover sheet to this, we're talking about as you turn onto Grassy Hill, the entrance to the hotel will be on the left. They are not asking for a waiver, obviously, of the sidewalk from their entrance back down to connecting to the sidewalk that already runs along North Main, right there at the corner of Grassy Hill and North Main. They're requesting a waiver from the entrance back up Grassy Hill Road. And so staff is in support of that. Ms. Engel is in support of that. She cannot be here tonight because she's not feeling well tonight. But the request is to waive the sidewalk requirement for the hotel going up Grassy Hill Road. I believe you have the letter from the engineer, Lumsden Associates, that's working with the hotel developer, as well as a layout in your packet of the sidewalk.
I did have one question with that one, Mark. Is the town putting that sidewalk in, or is the hotel development putting that in?
The sidewalk that will go from their entrance back down the road, that will be the hotel developer.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Other questions of Mr. Moore? Okay. So you need a motion to approve or not approve?
A motion to approve or deny the waiver request.
Would it, I know probation and parole was up there. Would that help get folks to probation and parole, or have we discussed this from a moving sidewalks further north onto Grassy Hill, excuse me?
We haven't had that discussion with connecting to that location, but the concern here, per the engineer, is that the requirement, because of the grading and may require potential moving of some underground utilities there as well. So it's not like the sidewalk that's going in front of the Bank of Botetourt where it's tailor-made for sidewalk. It is, as we've all been on Grassy Hill, once you get off of that shoulder, it starts to drop off, and it creates a
Bigger, yeah,
pretty significant issue for the development of that property.
understood. Thank you.
And really, most of the foot traffic would be coming down the hill anyway from the hotel.
Right.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the partial waiver. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Did Mark say anything? Did you hear Mark?
Mark, you there?
Yes,
Okay.
Do you approve or deny?
approved.
Thank you.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the memorandum of understanding between CPR regarding Virginia's Main Street program. Mr. Bernard?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. As you're aware, this past spring, Council passed a budget that included funding for a Main Street director that would allow the town to become further involved with Virginia Main Street. One of the requirements for Virginia Main Street is the involvement of that executive director with a 501c3 nonprofit. Here in Rocky Mount, that organization is Community Partnership. They've historically been our Main Street organization. But to meet the requirements for that higher level of designation, they do require that relationship with that nonprofit. So you have in front of you a memorandum of understanding that establishes that relationship between the town and community partnership, where the town would fund the position and they would be on town staff, but they would work in tandem with community partnership. I will point out that a lot of these requirements are due to those Virginia Main Street requirements, with them wanting a certain level of impartiality with that organization and position. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, Mr. Bernard? No questions.
Would they would work for the town, but are appointed to the board of the community partners?
So they would function in a lot of ways as an executive director for community partnership. Again, that's that Main Street requirement, but they would be on town staff and get town salary and benefits, which ultimately makes it easier to attract a quality candidate.
Okay.
Motion?
Motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to authorize, I guess you're gonna sign it?
Yeah.
To authorize Robert to sign. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We have two public hearings this evening, the first one being the zoning and subdivision ordinance update.
Rebecca, did you turn on the, yeah.
I did.
Careful, we see what you see.
That's not what I'm seeing. Let me try it again. There it goes. All right, good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of council. We are here for your public hearing on the zoning and subdivision ordinance update, which, as you know, we've been working on for close to 2 years. I'm just going to quickly go through our project progress, a few highlights, the ordinance structure, and then leave you to have your public hearing. So we have completed all of these steps that we've gone through in a very detailed way, as you know, and we are at the public hearing. And I just want to thank you all for how involved you've been and for attending all the work sessions and asking questions and going through all the details of the ordinance. We did update it to align with the Code of Virginia. It's been restructured, simplified, and updated to existing standards and updated to suit the needs of the community. And just to remind you, the summary of changes memo was in your packet, and that has every change that was made highlighted through the ordinance. This is your new ordinance structure. The subdivision ordinance is now your Article 10, and it's all in one neat package for you. The Planning Commission did vote to recommend approval at their public hearing on October 1st, And I just want to thank you all on behalf of the Berkeley Group for being so great to work with and for hiring us to help you out with this. It's been a pleasure working with you all. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. We have one person signed up to speak at the public hearing, Miss India Ellis.
Greetings, and thank you for letting me speak tonight. In regards to the proposed boundary adjustment, which include properties on Compton Street off North Main Street, I'm the only resident that lives on Compton Street. I have 2 parcels of land that make up 5.575 acres of land. I have a barn and I have a fenced pasture. I have kept horses there and calves there. And I really do not want to lose the ability to make extra income by having some livestock there due to the restrictive zoning, or I would not like to lose the ability to gun hunt there. This part of Compton Street is on a private deeded right-of-way, which will restrict benefits for me of town services as trash pickup, mail delivery, and snow removal. I maintain the entire private road with gravel and any kind of tree work that needs to be done. And after I get to my driveway, I do bush hog all the way down to the creek. And I also maintain any tree work needs to be done, which was done today, as a matter of fact. As a handicapped woman on a fixed income, I don't want double taxes or the financial hardship of a sewage hookup. I love Rocky Mount, but I don't want to be a part of town. I'm asking for due consideration that this rural area not be zoned residential, but zoned residential agricultural. That's the best of my knowledge on how the zoning works. Or that I be governed in order to keep horses or to keep livestock there. I thank you for any consideration you can give me, and I did send a letter. I think you also have the letter.
We do.
I appreciate your time, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, do you have any questions? Can I answer any questions about where it is?
Beside Pell Animal Clinic, is that correct?
Well, you turn in at the animal clinic. My house is directly behind the Girard Center.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have nobody else signed up to speak on the zoning and subdivision ordinance update. Are there any questions for anybody, staff or otherwise?
No?
As I was saying, anybody have any questions?
Nope.
Thank you. Okay, hearing nothing, in order to make this happen, we need to have a motion to adopt the zoning and subdivision ordinance.
I'll make a motion to adopt the zoning and subdivision ordinance.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? All right, I need a roll call vote, please.
Vice Mayor Billy W. Stockton.
Yes.
Councilmember A. Ralph Casey.
Yes.
Councilmember David K. Clements.
Yes.
Councilmember J. Tyler Lee.
Yes.
Councilmember Benjamin K. Mullins.
Yes.
Councilmember Mark H. Newbill. Mayor C. Holland Purdue III.
Yes. That motion carries and will be adopted. Next, we have the public hearing on the boundary line agreement ordinance. You gonna do that?
Well, I think, council, we've discussed this one before. Council approved the first part of the agreement at the special meeting last month, and so we're back this time to specifically have council consider the boundary line adjustment. It was approved last week by the county, and if it's approved by council tonight, it will then go on to the circuit court for the final approval. And so that's kind of the way the process works. I don't think anyone signed up on it.
We got one person signed up.
Oh, we do, okay.
So we had two people signed up. Miss Ellis was signed up to speak on this. We'll just incorporate her comments into this as well. And now we have Mr. Thomas Young.
Hello, my name is Thomas Michael Young. I live at 60 Belmont Drive, which is in the Tanglewood Hills subdivision. And I understand that this is just a part of the larger package and lots of things are going on. But since this is the hearing to express concerns, I just wanted to express my concern about being annexed into the town. On the website where you listed the reasons for this, under the heading of why are the town and the county proposing a boundary line adjustment, you included this as your justification for the annexation of my area. It says, quote, "There is also an issue of equity or fairness. People that live just outside the town limits typically enjoy or receive many, sometimes all, of the benefits of town services, but they do not pay town taxes. This means that existing town residents and businesses essentially subsidize town services for those that live outside the town limits, a situation that can be argued is unfair for town residents and businesses." Well, I'm a little offended to be told that I'm taking advantage of people in town by having water and sewer services. And I've been living there for almost 40 years. But as you know, those of us outside of town limits pay a higher water rate than people in town. So I kind of felt like I am subsidizing or helping out town by paying a higher water bill for almost 40 years. And then I learned that, I'm looked at as taking advantage of the town. And I don't think that's a legitimate reason for annexing the neighborhood. And I also questioned why those parcels were selected to be annexed and not other areas that also have town water and services. And the mayor and Mr. Wood came and talked to me and explained some of that, but still not sure. And then there's another thing on your paper here in the website. Says, for example, many people that are currently outside of town limits in Tanglewood Hills or on Diamond Avenue, Circleview Street, or Highland Hills roads cannot get out of the neighborhood without driving on streets that are maintained by the town. I do not know about these other areas at all, but I know in Tanglewood Hills, this is a false statement. We moved in 1985. We came in off of a county road, onto county road. The block I am on was the only area that existed then. The roads that are currently in town, part of Tanglewood Hills, were planned and lines may have been laid on them, but those roads weren't built then.
Thank you, Mr. Young.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Having no one else signed up to speak.
Can I say something?
Oh,
quick?
yeah.
Just as a note for council, Mr. Young just mentioned it. We had a good conversation with him. Mayor Perdue and I went out and talked to him. We actually caught him mowing his yard today and talked to him for a little while about the issue. We also went to see Mr. Muse, who, if anybody saw the county meeting last week, the county public hearing, Mr. Vandal Muse, who's a retired pastor that lives out in the Diamond area. We talked to him today, and I'll share, because he asked me if I could, to share with y'all his concern. He said that he didn't really want to be brought into the town, but he said if he is brought into the town, he would like for the town to work on getting another exit from the neighborhood so that there's not the one exit. I think everyone's familiar with the issue. There's only one way out of the neighborhood on Diamond, and if there's a train, you can't get out. And so he said if his neighborhood is brought into the town, he would like for the town council to consider looking for a way to get a road built. And we told him that we've already had that discussion as part of the discussion about the boundary line, and that would be a very high priority for the town to work on getting a road built over there, because we agree that that's not a good situation they have over there.
So you have the ordinance in front of you. You need adoption of the resolution, John?
Yes, sir. I present the ordinance to the council for consideration and adoption.
All right. Any motions?
Offer motion that we move forward with the boundary line agreement ordinance.
We have a motion for the adoption?
And
I have
a second.
I have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, need a roll call vote, please, Ms. Dillon.
All right. Vice Mayor Billy W. Stockton.
Yes.
Councilmember A. Ralph Casey.
Yes.
Councilmember David K. Clements.
Yes.
Councilmember J. Tyler Lee.
Yes.
Councilmember Benjamin K. Mullins.
Yes.
Councilmember Mark H. Newbiel. Mayor C. Holland Purdue III.
Yes. All right, that motion passes. Having no other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a motion?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you guys for coming.
Safe travels. Yeah, man, good to have you here.
Yeah, he's a real nice guy.
He didn't know who we were at all.
Vietnam, veteran.
Yeah, we talked.